Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope everyone's had such a great holiday so far. Today's episode, I'm extremely excited for. I speak with Santa Claus. He's here in studio. He came all the way from the North Pole to Indiana to come talk with me. I really hope all of you kids really enjoy this interview as much as I had. So please enjoy it. I really hope that you guys have a great holiday season, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year if I don't see you guys until then. So I want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your extremely busy schedule to come on to this little show and talk with me. And I hope that all the viewers and listeners really enjoy this conversation that we have. And on behalf of them, thank you so much for taking the time. So with further ado, you ready for some questions?
Oh, I sure am. Matthew, it's been such a long time. I've been watching you grow, and you were only on the naughty list a few times, 'cause you are mean to your twin brother, the nicer one of you both, quite often, and I gave Matthew the benefit of the doubt. Mrs. Claus said I shouldn't, but I digress. I'm proud to see the man where you've become, and I'm so happy and excited to be able to have this conversation and talk with the children and have everyone watch and really enjoy the true meaning of Christmas.
Santa, you have so many names out there. Just to name a few is Santa Claus, obviously, Father Christmas, Saint Nicholas, Saint Nick, Kris Kringle, or just simply Santa. Out of all the names that there are for you in the world with all the different languages, which one is your most favorite name?
Well, sir, I love hearing that question. My favorite is probably from Germany, and they pronounce it Santa Claus, and it's so close to how it is in English. Thank you. It's a great question. Very good question.
Santa, why is it so important for others to share gifts and not only Santa?
It's truly important that giving to others is such a selfless act, especially to those who need it. And if there's anything that we can do as people, helping people, is to just love one another. And when someone needs your hand, lend them one. And if you know someone else who can help, then grab them too, and then they can come and help fix the problems of humanity.
I'm just wondering, what is your most favorite cookie that someone bakes you?
All of them! But on a serious note, if you children out there are paying attention, sugar cookies with the frosted toppings with the sprinkles on the sides. I like to add the sprinkles myself later. Chocolate chip cookies are pretty good as well. Mrs. Claus loves the cinnamon cookies. I think she's a psychopath, but I'm married to her. Better talk to my lawyers on that one.
But Santa, isn't it true that you're lactose intolerant? So if someone's going to be making you some cookies with some dairy in it, is there any issues?
Oh, why, yes, I am, Matthew. You can't go nearly 2,000 years of eating baked goods filled with sugar and drinking it off, topping it off with milk. So that's why I carry around a 5-gallon bag of Lactic.
So Santa, what do you do for the rest of the year when you're not even bringing gifts to the children?
Oh, that's a very good question. Actually, what would anybody else do who works 1 month out of the year? I take an 11-month vacation. Do you know how much sugar and milk I take in just that one day? It takes me about 11 months just to get it all back off of me, just to get it back on again. So very vigorous workouts and dieting, but I love every minute of it. I truly do, and I spend it with the elves and Mrs. Claus. And elves, we like to send them somewhere nice, and it's all inclusive everywhere you go, and it's free for them.
So Santa, who is your favorite reindeer?
Oh, Well, Matthew, that is a very, very difficult answer because I love them all so dearly. They all work so hard, and I would have to just lump them all in together as one group because it's not just one reindeer that does all the work. I'm not the one doing the work. They all work together. It's a community of hard work. So I would have to say the entire collective as a whole, kind of like people. It's not just one person's the best person. It's everyone working together.
But if you were to pick the leader of that group, of that pack, who would that leader be?
Rudolph, of course. He's got the brightest nose. And he was a young little spoutling.
He can light the way.
He lights the way. Very, very good.
So Santa, to kind of conclude just this part of the interview with you, what is the most important lesson for us to learn from Christmas?
The lights, the beautiful songs and carols, and delicious food that we get to gather and feast together. To giving other people wonderful gifts that come from our hearts. Or even as something as simple as waking up to our very first Christmas and getting a wonderful gift of a bell. It doesn't matter what race or where you're from or your political beliefs. We are all brothers and sisters. But all of that is just a reminder of the vastness of God's love.
Santa, thank you so much for taking the time out of your extremely busy schedule to come all the way here from the North Pole to Indiana to talk with me on the podcast. And I'm going to ask one more favor, which we've already talked about before you started this podcast with me. If you would read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and you agreed to it. So thank you so much for that. So I'm going to go ahead and let you have the spotlight.
Well, of course, I'd love to, Matthew. And I had a wonderful time during this interview on the podcast. Yes, so I'm going to read the kid's favorite book. It's mine, too. "'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there. Spoiler alert, I'm coming. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled down our brains for a long winter's nap. Santa's gloves are a little tough to turn the pages. When out on the lawn there was such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw out the sash. The moon on breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher and Dancer, now Prancer, now Vixen, oh come on Cupid and Donner and Blitzen! To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away, oh! Oh, as dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop and the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my bed and I was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. I do practice that a lot in my time off. It's a lot of squats and deadlifting. Quite proud of myself. He was dressed in all fur from head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. Oh, this is my favorite part. His eyes, how they twinkled. His dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn like a bow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. How flattering. Yes. Very, very flattering. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, and wait a second. They're just talking about my winter weight. They should see my summer bod. He was chubby and plump and right jolly of old elf. And I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all of his stockings, then turned with a jerk. And laying a finger aside his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney, he rose. He sprang to a sleigh, and his team gave a whistle, and away they flew like down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night!"
Santa, thank you so much for reading that book. I really enjoyed that, and you did such a good job reading. I am not surprised. So would there be anything that you would like to tell all the people viewing this and all the children that are viewing or listening to this? Is there anything at all?
I want to thank you for the opportunity, especially the day before Christmas. I have a busy night tonight, and I'm glad that I could start it out here and get to speak with everybody and have everyone listen. For all the children out there, I'd like to put out some advice. Is always be kind to your neighbor and twice as kind to your family. They're the only ones you got, and they love you no matter what. And a lot of kids think that their parents don't love them. But, Matthew, they do. They do. So, just be kind and love everybody. Treat them as your friend.
I had so much fun talking with Santa, so I hope everybody else enjoyed this as much as I did. And for those kids out there, are you on the naughty or the nice list? Merry Christmas.